Hey there, YouTube. This is SJM4306, also known as Sean here. And as you can see in front of you, I have a parcel. Now, this isn't any old parcel. Well, in fact, it is a parcel. Let's go ahead and crack it open. Inside here is going to be something super exciting, which I just can't express my excitement other than my words, which is, I guess, how I will express my excitement, to be honest with you. I have to apologise in advance for my voice. It might sound a little bit different to how I usually sound. That is for no other reason than it's just hay fever season over here in the Great Canyon. So I've cracked open the tape off the box, and I'm just going to go ahead and open it up here. As you can see, it's a little bit tall. There we go. Just get that bit off. Fantastic. And we're almost in. Oh, we are in. And yeah, here it is. It weighs like an amount, and I'm very. Look at me flip open my knife. All right, Sean, you might as well take over now. I can't do this any longer.
Okay, man. Well, you can just sit back and enjoy. So yeah, I found this after a certain another YouTuber had made a video on these old Sony Walkmans. I was scouring the eBay auctions, and I actually got this one. Snipe bidded someone else. He had a bid for 71, and I put in up to 80 bucks, and I got this for 76 bucks. Now, if you don't know what this is exactly, this might clue you in. This is a cassette tape from, I believe, 1998 or 99. And so it's a cassette player, and so this is based off of, it's kind of the redesign model of the world's first Walkman, which was TPS-L2, and this is the WM-3, but it's pretty much almost identical with a few improvements, I believe, and hopefully I can get this guy open and show you guys exactly what I'm dealing with here. Free rubber band. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh, wow. It is a little bit dirty, but wow.
That's it, Sean.
Wow. Now, there are some problems with this. I forget exactly in terms of operation. I believe it turns on, but obviously pretty much all the belts on these, unless if they've been repaired, have perished. So I'm going to have to replace the belts. There might be some other mechanical problems, and then there's definitely one big problem with this battery door here. It's missing the clasp there. So what I'm going to end up doing is 3D printing a little catch so I can fix that. But other than that, it's in pretty good nick. There's some, what looks like some like rub marks or something on the front here. There's some scratches along the side here, but other than that, this is in remarkably good condition. Especially considering the age. This came out probably early 80s. Ah, the hotline button. So satisfying. Okay, let's see. Hinge is good. Yeah, the buttons still work at least. Let's just get some batteries and see exactly if this will turn on. Hopefully it does. So let me be right back. Ta-da! Okay, so let's just see if these power up the unit at all. Now, both the batteries, interestingly enough, go in the same direction. Which is kind of weird, but it's okay. Okay, so batteries in. Let's just hit play and see if it turns on. We have a red light, which is actually kind of dim in real life, but it looks really bright on camera. That's kind of weird. And nothing happens. If I put this up to my ear, maybe you could hear there's a humming sound. So the motor is actually working. You can definitely hear it now. But I'm going to guess the belt is completely gone. Another test that I'm going to do, probably off camera because I can't show you guys my headphones per se. I'm going to see if I plug this in, if I just press play without a tape in, I should hear maybe some humming, but not really too much. So I need to check that the caps are all good in the circuit board. Hopefully they are, because those will be a pain to replace. Other than that, yeah, I'm going to actually probably do a separate video of me repairing once I order new belts and get this situated. But for now, I'm probably going to just do a quick teardown and show you guys the inside of this. Okay, one thing that I will do, I'd mentioned using headphones, but I guess you guys would have a better time hearing if I actually used a speaker. So let's see if it makes any weird noises if I press play without any tape in and turn up the volume. So I had the volume, I'll start it off low just so I don't blow your ears out. That's a good sign. So there's a little bit of static if I turn the audio all the way up, but no crackling, no, you know, repetitive thumping, nothing like that. That's really good. Now let's just hit the hotline and see if that works. Hello. Testing. Testing. Hello? Hello? Aw, the mic doesn't work.
Really?
Yeah. So
Have you pressed play?
Yeah, it's on play this whole time. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing from the mic. I believe, I mean, if I turn it up all the way, it should actually cause feedback with the speaker. But there's absolutely nothing. So likely what happened, I wonder if someone's been in here before and maybe they damaged the wires. They're really sensitive. They're really thin wires that go to the mic, or the mic itself might be damaged. But this is a standard condenser mic, so I should be able to replace that actually, as long as the circuitry works for that. There are a couple other things. It could be the switch, but anyway, we'll take a look at that. We'll get inside this in a second, and I'll show you guys exactly what's up. Okay, so here we are. Let's just pop this guy open. One thing is, I did find the service manual, not for the, actually, no, I did actually find it for the WM-3. Also for the TPS-L2. I read through the TPS-L2, the disassembly guide, but not for this model, but I'm hoping that it's similar enough. Anyway, pretty much just take off every screw you can find. And these are pretty small screws, so you're going to need a fine tip screwdriver. And they're probably going to be different sizes, so I would set them aside so that you can see which one goes where. Some of these screws are loose, so I'm kind of thinking someone's been in here already, which hopefully is not a bad sign of things to come. Looks like the mic completely broke off. Looks like there are two wires and they were desoldered, so that's why we had our mic not working. So just got to figure out which wires go where, and then we can solder that back in at least. There is a retaining bracket for something that fell out, and I'm thinking it's the power jack maybe? These sliders fell out, and it looks like... Oh, that's interesting. There's glue on gluing this plastic sheet, which contains kind of the scale gradations on the volume sliders. That's sort of glued in there. That looks like that's from the factory. That's really weird. But yeah, yeah, you can tell that this sits inside here, and it just fell out. So you can just press that in there so that we don't lose it. That's just to make the hole look nicer, I guess. Set that down there, and we can see the rest of the circuitry. So now hopefully we can get the back off. Okay, good thing that was shut, because a spring just popped out and a little retaining bracket. So I'm just going to put that there, and that's what actually holds the mechanism so that this clicks open and shut. Okay, so the battery door just came out. There's a retaining bracket, like a little piece of metal in there. And then mostly got it out except for this little arm, which I want to be really careful with. So what I'm probably going to do is just leave it like this. I don't want to break that arm. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it like that so that there's something to protect the front while I'm working on this. And if we look at the belts, surprise, surprise, this one's really loose and the other one just is completely gone. So just gonna see about taking these off. No point in keeping the belt on. Yeah, this is really hard. It's no longer pliable anymore, really. And it just straight up ripped right off there. This belt, actually there is a little bit of life in this belt, but I would just replace it as a matter of course. Oops, sorry. Yeah, you can see it does actually spin, but there's some irregularity to it. You can see because it's kind of well worn. Anyway, so I think this is as far as I'm going to go right now. Once I get the replacement belts in, I will swap these two out. I'll keep this so that I know the diameter, so I can measure this obviously easily now because it's all straight now. So I can measure this, get the diameter, and order up some belts, and we'll see how the rest of it is. Okay, so I have it all apart here as shown before, and actually this is the same day that I made the rest of this unboxing video and everything. Well, not really unboxing, I guess mailboxing. Anyway, so these are the old belts. You can see they're pretty badly deformed, and this one's just straight up ripped. Now, the best part is I was going to buy belts and wait for them to arrive and all that jazz, but I have a box full of, here you go, just in case you're interested, a box full of old junk from like everything I've ever taken apart that was mechanical. And of course, I have a ton of belts in all different sizes, from VCRs to other cassette players to optical drives that used belts for like the tray mechanisms. And I found two belts that fit perfect. And these are the only two in these sizes. And I matched them up roughly a little bit undersized to the original belts that were obviously stretched out. And it works perfectly. So just as a quick test, set this to play and you can see it spinning. Works. And I just inserted a cassette in here, hooked up some headphones and played it, and it sounded amazing. So to open this up, there's a couple things you need to do. So there's a crap ton of this like really old tape. Here's the last piece left that I haven't peeled off, and I'm gonna replace with probably modern Captain or electrical tape, something nice that doesn't turn to goo, because this is all sticky and it's like decomposing. That's kind of not so good. But anyway, while I poke at this, let me just pull out the batteries. So to remove the board, you have to remove, there's a black screw up front here, right underneath the bundle of wires. There's a white arrow pointing at it. And there is this screw back here with another white arrow pointing at it. There is a very small washer on here. Make sure when you take this off, you do not lose that washer and it doesn't fall inside or something horrible like that. Afterwards, then you'll be able to lift this board just slightly. There's all these wires going to and from the board though, which will prevent you from totally removing the board, but you can lift it about, a centimeter or two, which will be just enough to get tweezers, like a thin pair of tweezers like these guys in there. And so in order to remove the belts and get the new ones on, there's this kind of T-shaped metal arm here. There are two screws, one longer black screw on this side, and then one on the underneath this board. The bracket goes down and then into the case. There's a tiny little screw, and I believe that's black as well. And it's really difficult it's easy to remove it, but it's hard to get it back in because you only have a tiny bit of space. So what I ended up using was the tweezers to hold it and a screwdriver to actually get it. And there's a small spring, actually here it is, the spring that kind of tensions, there's a slider assembly, tensions it to this bracket. So when you unscrew this, keep your finger on this because it's going to want to ping off because the spring is pulling against it. And so you're going to have to move this over just slightly. You don't have to actually remove it or take it out. Just lift it up slightly, just enough to actually get your tweezers in and pull the belts out. Now, the way that these belts are threaded, there's a smaller pulley up at the top here, and it goes to this black other pulley, I guess, for lack of a better word. And that's your smaller belt, goes on the top there. Now there's also a larger belt that has to go around the thicker part of this this brass pulley, and it goes all the way around. The top part threads around this kind of idler, which just free rotates, and it just adds a little bit of tension to it, and then it goes around your motor and then comes back around to the other side. So basically it goes like this, and then around, and then back up. So when you're threading this, it's easier to start from the motor end, put the rubber, the belt around there, bring the top over, thread the top through here, bring it over this pulley, and use your tweezers the whole time to kind of guide it until it seats. And make sure that there aren't any twists in the belt. Well, like it doesn't like rotate around too many times, because that's not going to be so good. But it does have to rotate kind of 90 degrees so that it can interface between this this pulley, which is orthogonal to this main drive flyweight. I believe this is like a flyweight. So anyway, that's that. And so now what I need to do is pretty much to fix everything. I need to solder these 3 wires that broke off back onto the mic, and then clean up the case and get it all back together, and then I can show you guys the finished product. I'm sorry I couldn't show you me replacing the belts on camera. It was really difficult to do, and the whole time I'm really worried because this isn't cheap, and if I break anything permanently, pretty much not going to be able to get repair parts. So sorry I couldn't show you guys, but hopefully this close-up shot is enough to give you an idea of how you would go about doing it yourself, as well as the description of what screws you need to remove and what you need to watch out for. So yeah, everything works. It is a beaut. And just even fast forward, rewind, play. And it's pretty quiet too, so all the bearings are probably pretty good. It just needs a good clean now. So let me go ahead, do the clean, and get this all back together, and I will meet you guys in a second. Okay, so we're all finished up. So additional improvements that I made beyond replacing the belt and resoldering the mic. So basically the mic, there are 3 wires, and it all snapped off. There's a red, white, and a black wire, I believe it was. So to figure out which one is ground, I just took my multimeter and touched it to the outside metal shell of the mic, and then touched each of the pins to find out which one was the ground. And for the other 2 pins, I don't think it really matters polarity-wise, so I just soldered one of the wires onto one of the other remaining pins, and then the last wire onto the last pin, and it works. Tested this out, and I can show you guys. So in addition to that, the buttons were kind of loose. So these 3 buttons here, the transport buttons, they're held on by friction. I didn't glue them down, but they're good enough. They're not going to fall off unless you like really try to pull on them. The stop button, however, was quite loose, so I actually just used wood glue. I didn't want to use anything too permanent in case I needed to pull it off in the future. So wood glue is good enough, and it doesn't seem like it's loose anymore. So additionally, I'm gonna need to definitely fix this battery door. The clasp is actually completely missing. I tried 3D modeling. I did 3D model something for it, but my printer doesn't have the resolution necessary to actually print this. You would need some kind of SLA printer for very high resolution small parts like that. So unfortunately, not going to be able to 3D print that. I'm probably going to fashion something out of a piece of plastic, whittle it down or something, and make that fit, because it is quite annoying having this constantly flopping open. And no, I'm not going to put tape on here. That's such a bad idea. Anyway, additionally, the button here for the microphone, it's a latching type, and it was actually a little dirty, the contacts. When I wiggled it, the left and right channels would go in and out, and it was just really annoying. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a quick demo. I can't really play too much of this, obviously. I just have my copy of Americana here. I can't play you too much of this because obviously copyright, but Let's just see.
Please.
There we go.
Welcome to Americana. Please make your selection followed by.
Yeah, you can see everything works audio-wise. And just turn this way down. And then if I turn on the mic, here, let's actually just eject the tape. If you turn on the mic and turn up the volume, you can definitely hear it. Hello? Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. So yeah, mic works. And you get lots of feedback. Okay, enough of that. But yeah, everything works. The complete mechanism works. And I had a problem with the tape stop working before. Basically, there's a little cog, and I'll show a picture of it here. Yeah, so that little cog, there's a spring on it, and when it gets to the end of the tape, it basically flicks upward, and my spring actually had come loose. I have a feeling someone had been in my unit and tinkered with it, because a lot of the screws were loose. Let me just rewind this. So a lot of my screws were loose, which is a kind of a bad sign. That's not something that would happen normally. Like one screw loose, fine, but like 4 or 5 of them, no. So anyway, pretty sure someone had been in here tinkering, and that's definitely not great. But luckily they didn't damage anything. It looks like maybe they just took a look around and maybe got scared. And so that's why I was able to get this for cheaper, basically. Anyway, yeah, everything works. I just need to fix that battery door. That's kind of annoying. Other than that, both headphone jacks work. LED, the actual transport mechanism, the mic now works. Yeah, good to go. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll probably make a follow-up video once I get this battery door clasp working. And yeah, oh, that's so satisfying. Anyway, now I'm going to have to go to the thrift store and see about collecting more cassette tapes. I have all my old cassettes that I actually used in the 90s. I recorded these off the radio, so the quality is probably very bad. I haven't really listened to them in like something like nearly 20 years. But anyway, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll get this uploaded as soon as I can, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.